Well, now, when it comes to Drake and Kendrick Lamar, it's like watching two titans circle each other in the ring. But this time, Drake is moving like an obsessed ex who can't let go of the past. He's publicly poking at Kendrick again, practically begging for another round of beef that nobody even asked for. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe because you're not going to want to miss what's about to unravel here. Drake and his so-called OVO detectives have finally strung together a full sentence. And now he's sprinting around acting like some lyrical mastermind, a supervillain plotting in the shadows. There's this whole bigger plan narrative being spun, like Kendrick is caught in some epic scheme that's about to explode bigger than anyone ever expected. The drama feels scripted, but the tension, that's real. And now, Drake fans are swearing up and down that the man who made The Heart Part 6 is some kind of prophet, a lyrical genius who's been predicting the future like some rap world Nostradamus. Forget the jokes. Today we're going headfirst into the receipts, breaking down what's actually happening, because the emotions online are about to spill over. Here's the wild part. Between all the meltdown moments, the petty crashes, and the desperate attempts to stay in headlines, Drake has been liking multiple fan posts pushing wild theories. These theories claim that the current lawsuit between him and his label somehow ties back to lyrics in Family Matters, like it was all part of some cosmic plan. People are actually painting Drake as a Gandalf the Great, a Yoda figure, a wise old oracle who foresaw every twist before it even happened. The mythology around this man is getting ridiculous, and today we're tearing it apart piece by piece. And now, here's where it gets completely wild. The most media illiterate voices online are suddenly trying to lecture everyone else about media literacy by twisting the ending of Family Matters into a whole conspiracy. Toward the end of the track, Drake starts hinting that Kendrick Lamar supposedly needed a management team to cover up some dark deeds, things that there's zero proof of, yet people are running with it like gospel. This isn't just speculation anymore. This is myth building. According to Drake's carefully chosen words, he seemingly knew there was gonna be some massive scheme involving bots, not like us, and other shady tactics. And then, like a breadcrumb trail, he name drops an LLC called Nowhere to Hide. Instantly, the rumor mill went into overdrive. Suddenly, the internet is pointing at a man named Kojo, who keeps getting dragged into this case, saying Drake was warning us all along and that Kojo's at the center of it. It's a cinematic narrative, but does it actually hold up? Here's the kicker. Before we even dig into whether this has any merit, the so-called evidence starts crumbling. People are claiming this Nowhere to Hide company is Kojo's LLC, but documents show it looks more like a false registry than anything Kojo even touches. It's like a digital mirage. Everyone's chasing shadows, and Drake's fans are cheering like he's some rap world detective dropping clues only he can understand. And honestly, this whole Drake is crystal ball prophet thing is getting ridiculous. People are acting like he's a master lyricist whose bars are coded messages from the future. But if you strip away the obsession with rap mega Karen energy and just look at facts, what Drake's hinting at isn't just shaky. If we actually take his words at face value and follow the implications, it's so outrageous it makes conspiracy theories look tame. Let's break this down because the story Drake's fans are running with is wild. According to their theory, Drake isn't just rapping, he's supposedly been playing 4D chess with the music industry the whole time. What they're saying is that Drake always knew there would be a diss track aimed at him, one designed to sink his reputation to an all-time low, devalue him within the label system, and pull off some grand setup he couldn't stop, yet somehow knew every detail of. It's a story that sounds like a Netflix thriller, not a rap beef. And here's the absurd twist. Despite allegedly knowing every single part of this master plan, Drake still let it hit him hard for over a year, watching it rewrite hip-hop's narrative while he just stood there. The idea is so over the top, it almost sounds like satire. But buckle up, because the narrative gets even wilder. According to these lame old lobby theories, ever since Kendrick dropped Like That Again, Drake supposedly understood this whole beef was staged to boost streams, wreck his image, and shift the culture. Yet instead of bowing out, he jumped right into push-ups and IG antics, acting like it was just another lyrical sparring match with an MC. And fans are expected to believe he doubled down on all these disses and family matters, fully aware Kendrick's next move would be the track that would nuke his reputation. Then, just as predicted, Kendrick drops it, and Drake responds with the heart parts, like he's fulfilling the prophecy of his own downfall. And here's where the whole fairy tale completely collapses. The heart part 6. This was supposed to be Drake's big rabbit out of the hat moment, the track where he'd prove he was some puppet master behind the scenes. Instead, it was the song that exposed him. He tried to spin wild accusations about lying with the daughter and secret information, but all it really did was stain his own reputation and show the world how rattled he was by this feud. This wasn't confidence, this was panic on wax. Go back and actually look at what happened in this beef. Think about the dozens of tracks Drake has dropped since then. The whole genius strategy narrative becomes laughable. Because if Drake was truly this omniscient mastermind, why would he release a track like The Heart Part 6 that looked less like a chess move and more like a desperate cover-up of a meltdown? If this was a calculated industry plot to ruin him, that was the perfect moment to expose it. Instead, he doubled down on chaos, and it backfired. At the end of the day, if Drake actually had a real plan, if he really knew this was all happening, it would have shifted music forever. It would have been a monumental cultural moment, but it didn't happen. Nothing close to that happened. The setup theory just collapses under its own weight, because to believe this, you'd have to convince yourself that Drake willingly tanked his entire reputation for over a year as part of some convoluted, long game where he'd somehow win in the end. Nobody in the history of anything has ever done that. Not in rap, not in politics, not in any arena of public life. And yet, the OVO camp is still pushing this myth. Fans are sitting there trying to keep a straight face, acting like Drake intentionally let all this damage unfold because it was part of some grand plan. Meanwhile, Drake is out here liking posts claiming he knew everything all along, trying to posture as the real boogeyman compared to Kendrick Lamar. But if that's true, why does every move look like damage control instead of domination? The legend he's selling and the reality we're seeing just don't line up, and that's the scandal. First off, the funniest part in all this? Drake's still out here playing his little baiting games, sneak dissing, dropping cryptic bars, throwing hints, but never once saying Kendrick's name. Not once. It's like he wants the smoke, but not the fire. And the wild part? His fans are eating it up. Drake didn't outsmart anyone. He just got lucky that his fan base is so desperate to believe every breadcrumb he drops is part of some divine plan. It's not genius. It's delusion dressed up as strategy. When you really break down Drake's so-called ideology, the whole illusion collapses. The man hasn't been calculated. He's been chaotic. There's no crystal ball here, no future vision mastermind. The truth is, Drake's entire creative process for the last decade has been built on something I'm calling diss slop. And yeah, you heard that right, diss slop. Because what he does isn't precision, it's messy, loud, and intentionally vague. Look back at For All the Dogs and Scary Hours 3. The writing is fueled by emotion, not intellect. Drake rants, he barks, he takes shots at invisible enemies, but he never gives clarity. It's like he's screaming into the void and hoping fans connect the dots for him. And when they do, they turn every random lyric into prophecy. To anyone who doesn't think Drake's bigger than Michael Jackson, a better rapper than Jay-Z, and a smoother talker than Saul Goodman, it's obvious there's no master plan here, just chaos wrapped in confidence. Take Stories About My Brother as a perfect example of this diss slop in action. Drake closes out that track with the infamous line, "You are not Kobe Bryant to us." On paper, it sounds sharp, but when you actually break it down, it's vague, directionless, and built to sound deep without saying anything at all. That's Drake's real formula. Leave blanks, let fans fill them in, and watch the internet turn speculation into scripture. It's genius marketing by accident, not intention. Looking back now at all the relationships and beefs Drake's been tangled in since this whole mess dropped, the narrative people are spinning is wild. Some swear it's about Kendrick Lamar. They point to the West Coast connections and Kobe Bryant references like it's some coded message. Others claim it's about LeBron James because he's a Laker, he's a basketball giant, and yes, he's had friction with Drake. On the surface, it kind of fits, but when you peel back the layers, it doesn't add up at all. Drake fans will keep shouting that it's about Kendrick or LeBron, but the receipts say otherwise. Kendrick was literally at one of Drake's shows, and Drake and LeBron were still on good terms leading up to this. If anything, that bar probably wasn't about either of them. It was likely about someone totally different, or maybe it was just a random throwaway line Drake tossed in to sound deep and start speculation. That's his pattern. Drop something vague, let fans go detective mode, and sit back while the internet turns theories into gospel. And the same thing happens with Red Button. Drake raps like the whole industry is against him, spinning delusional, everybody's out to get me bars. And instantly the losers online claim it proves he knew the Kendrick beef was pre-planned. They treat it like evidence of some grand conspiracy when it's really just paranoia disguised as poetry. If anything, the facts blow the theory apart. Drake actually asked Kendrick to be on this album. The Like That verse was a surprise. There was no shadowy setup, no master plan, just ego and timing colliding in real time. So when you take all of that and then add in the Kojo line everyone's obsessing over, it's obvious what's happening. People are desperate to make Drake into a prophet, a strategist, a man who knew what he was doing all along. But the reality looks a lot more like a guy making vague noise and fans doing the heavy lifting to make it sound like prophecy. I don't buy any of it, not one bit. Unless someone can pull out actual proof that Drake has ever been calculated, intentional, or aware of anything beyond his own diss slop, this whole theory is just another example of him manipulating the most gullible fans on the internet. All smoke, no fire. It's classic Drake, spinning half-baked clues and letting the fans turn them into epic conspiracies that mean absolutely nothing in the end. What makes this so wild right now is how deep the delusion has spread. There's a full-blown narrative floating around the Drake community and leaking into the rest of hip-hop that the Kendrick beef wasn't what it seemed, that Drake supposedly knew everything from the jump, and that this was all some elaborate game of strategy. But when you actually line up the facts, that myth starts crumbling fast. Now sure, Drake's recent subs and cryptic bars make it clear he wants people talking about Kendrick again. He's itching to stir the pot, but not brave enough to name names. He's been dancing around it, poking, hinting, baiting, but never going head on. It's like he wants to reopen the wound without risking another knockout punch. Because let's be real, the last round didn't end well for him. Honestly, maybe it's time this fake calm between them gets shattered again. If Drake keeps running his mouth and playing tough, Kendrick won't even need to get in the studio for weeks. All he has to do is hit upload on that unreleased diss track sitting in the vault, and the internet will explode overnight. One push of a button, and we'll be watching another lyrical massacre unfold right in front of us. If that day comes, when Kendrick finally presses that button, it's over for Drake, because no amount of Instagram likes, coded captions, or mystery bars can save him from a real MC unloading truth with precision. Kendrick doesn't play internet games. He drops bombs and walks away while the world burns. And that's exactly what Drake fears most. He's built an empire off control, controlling narratives, fans, and trends. But he can't control Kendrick Lamar. And the truth is, deep down, Drake knows it. That's why he's still lurking in comment sections, liking random fan theories and posting cryptic emojis instead of facing what's left of his credibility. He's trying to turn confusion into a shield, but it's not working anymore. People see through it. The more he talks without saying anything, the more desperate he looks. Kendrick, on the other hand, doesn't need to say a word. His silence is louder than Drake's entire rollout. Every sub, every bar, every lyric that Drake's dropped since Family Matters has only made one thing clear. He's haunted by the man who ended his image with precision and walked away without even flinching. So maybe this whole saga isn't about strategy or prophecy at all. Maybe it's just a story of a man who flew too close to the spotlight and melted under his own hype. Because at this point, Drake's biggest enemy isn't Kendrick, it's his reflection. And that's where we leave it. The OVO empire wobbling, the fans divided, and Kendrick somewhere in the shadows, silent, patient, dangerous. If he ever decides to drop that next diss, it won't just shake the internet, it'll break it. So be sure to like, subscribe, and share, because when that moment hits, you're gonna wanna be right here to watch it all unfold. Right now, the rap game feels like it's holding its breath. The tension between Drake and Kendrick is still buzzing in every corner of the culture, and it's clear this story isn't close to being over. What started as a lyrical clash has turned into something way bigger. This is reputation versus reality, pride versus silence, and Drake's ego sitting right in the middle. Since that whole fallout, every move Drake's made feels like an attempt to rewrite what already happened. He's posting cryptic messages, liking conspiracy posts, and throwing hints like breadcrumbs for his fans to chase, but nothing lands the way it used to. The confidence looks forced, the mystery feels planned, and the charm, it's fading fast. Meanwhile, Kendrick doesn't have to say a word. His silence cuts deeper than any verse Drake's dropped all year. It's almost like he's letting Drake burn himself out, watching from a distance as the OVO machine tries to rebuild something that can't be repaired. The balance of power shifted, and Drake can feel it every time he opens his phone. And now, what's really wild is how this energy is spreading across hip-hop. Artists are picking sides quietly, fans are arguing daily, and even industry heads are whispering that something bigger might be brewing. Drake's trying to act like he's in control, but the look in his moves says otherwise. It's like he's preparing for something he can't stop. The entire scene feels like it's waiting on a single moment. One drop, one word, one post that could flip everything again. And if that moment comes, it won't just be another track. It'll be the spark that sends this whole feud into a new level of chaos. And if this is what it takes to get new Kendrick Lamar music, then honestly, I'm all for it. Let Drake keep poking, keep baiting, keep acting like he's in control, because every time he does, we get closer to hearing Kendrick step back in and remind everyone what real lyricism sounds like. If this back and forth sparks more music from Kendrick, that's not a loss. That's a win for the whole culture. Meanwhile, Drake keeps doing his little victory laps online, acting like he saw this whole beef coming and planned every move. But the truth? He's just rewriting history in real time. He's trying to convince people that he was the mastermind, when really, he's just trying to clean up a mess he made himself. The more he talks, the more obvious it gets. This isn't strategy, it's panic in slow motion. And then there's Lori, still trying to ride this wave like it's his big moment, but in reality, he's just proving he's the lamest one in the room. Every time he opens his mouth, the credibility drops another level. Drake might be spinning stories, but Lori's out here spinning embarrassment. So now, I really want to know what you think. Do you believe Drake actually knew what was happening in the Kendrick beef? Or is he just bluffing, trying to rewrite his own downfall? And how do you feel about him baiting Kendrick again like he wants round two? Because if Kendrick ever decides to answer, it's game over. I can't wait to hear what you think about all this. And if you made it to this point in the video, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and share. It helps out a ton. Now, if you want to see what happened right before all this, Drake had one of his most pathetic on-stage rants yet. And trust me, it got way worse than anything we've seen before. See you on the next one.